I spent many years throughout my 20s chasing happiness and chasing things that I thought were going to make me happy, whether it be if I lost the last 20 pounds, if I had a lot of money, if I had a lot of friends, if I got a boyfriend, if my career was on point. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's video is going to be 5 ways I stopped chasing happiness. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! Before we get started, as usual, some housekeeping news. If you want to help out my channel, check out my Patreon, and if not, then just help me out with the algorithm by giving this video a thumbs up and a like. And let's get into the 5 ways that I stopped chasing happiness. I just wanted to make this video because I have recently stopped chasing happiness, and I kind of wanted to address that and talk about it with you guys and talk about the 5 mindsets or the 5 points or the 5 things that I have kind of implemented in my life that are the foundation for why I no longer pursue happiness. So yeah, let's get into the points. I spent many years throughout my 20s chasing happiness and chasing things that I thought were going to make me happy, whether it be if I lost the last 20 pounds, if I had a lot of money, if I had a lot of friends, if I got a boyfriend, if my career was on point. I had a lot of external things that I thought were going to fill the void and make me happy. And don't get me wrong, a lot of those things did make me happy, but it wasn't everlasting happiness. As I chased happiness, I was just constantly chasing happiness and I couldn't stop chasing happiness. And in that, it did cause a lot of sadness and despair. So I decided, no more with that. And I've definitely reaped a lot of benefits. So I'm going to be talking today about the 5 ways that why or how, or just generally the thought process behind why I have stopped chasing happiness. Okay, number 1, accept the present moment. Through my minimalism journey, I came across Zen and Buddhism, and those things have really helped me a lot with their philosophical principles. And one of them that has really helped me a lot has been the idea that I have to accept the present moment. The thing about chasing happiness is that you're chasing something that you don't have yet in hopes that when you do achieve it, it's going to cause you happiness. But by doing so, it tells you that in your current state of affairs, there is a lack because you don't have said objective. And how could you be happy in the present moment if you're lacking? So for myself, I had to really embrace that I was already complete and I was already whole and I was capable of being happy in the present moment without all of the things that I thought I needed. And that has really helped me a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Accepting the present moment as a beautiful thing or in itself a complete thing has really helped a lot with my mental state. I definitely do not fantasize as much as I used to in the past, thinking that when I had this and when I had that, I was finally gonna be happy. I've definitely found a lot of peace in, and just general, a beautiful, simple happiness in my present moment by realizing that I already have everything that I need. And gratitude definitely helped a lot with that too, teaching myself to look at what I already do have and being grateful for it, because some of the things that I do have now I didn't used to have before, so I should definitely practice being grateful for it and cherishing it. Number 2, life is just a series of events. This one was a little bit hard for me because I thought that chasing happiness or chasing certain aesthetic goals were kind of my reason for living, or I guess a good way to put it, when I was younger, I thought you had to get a career, you had to get a car, you had to get married, you had to get a house, have kids, have a dog. Life was a linear line and you just kind of went through the milestones. Go to high school, graduate, make friends, have a boyfriend, get married. I thought that that's what life was. So I was just constantly chasing the next milestone. But the thing that I've kind of realized, because my life has been a bit more unconventional than I guess what society would tell you you're supposed to live your life, I've kind of realized that all these things are actually just series of events, and that there is no true script or formula that you need to follow to be happy. And if life is just a series of events, then any event can be a beautiful thing. And so I stopped chasing happiness. I stopped chasing these milestones or these certain events to be in a certain kind of chronological order in order to achieve my happiness, and instead just started to appreciate the events just for what they were, just events. And that's all that my life is. It's just a series of events until I die. I don't mean to sound morbid or pragmatic, but it was actually just very freeing to realize that if I don't end up having certain events in my life, that doesn't mean that I can't be happy. For example, sometimes I did fear in my late 20s that I wouldn't be able to have a kid, but now that I'm gonna be 30 this year, I've kind of made my peace with that. I don't have to experience all of the prescribed events in order to be happy, and then I can just be happy with whatever I do end up having in my life. Number 3, I am not my experiences. This one is also kind of more of a Zen principle, but realizing that you are not your identity and you are not all the things that you think that you are. I definitely thought that I was the sum of my experiences. That included my achievements and my body and the people around me and my lifestyle and my socioeconomic status. I thought that those things were me and that was my value. But I realized that as a person, I have intrinsic value, and as such, I've become less inclined in chasing happiness or trying to alter those things, because thinking that if I alter those things, therefore I'll alter myself. I've come to kind of like value myself in an intrinsic level. I have internalized that I am worthy of my own love. Yeah, my own love, regardless of those external things, whether or not I have them or not. Not because if I didn't achieve them, I'm still gonna love myself anyway, but it's because regardless of those things, I feel like, yeah, why shouldn't I love myself? I mean, like, I love a lot of people in my life, and I don't do it because, oh yeah, their career is banging. Like, that's, or they weigh a certain weight. I don't judge or love my loved ones like that, so I don't know why I had done that to myself. So that's one of the reasons why I stopped chasing happiness. I stopped chasing this idea that I could be happy or I could be loved. Like, I could allow myself to love myself, or I could allow myself to be happy until I had those things, when it's like, no, I'm not my experiences. So since I'm not my experiences, I choose to be happy in this moment. And that brings us to the fourth point, which is happiness is a choice. This one I picked up from watching a TED Talk from a monk, and she was talking about at the end of the day that we ultimately choose to be happy. And that for me was like a really big like, because some days are harder than other days, and sometimes my mind at least takes me to places where I feel like things would just be so much better if I had X or Y. You know what, I'll be real with you guys right now. COVID, coming back to Canada and experiencing lockdown was really, really difficult for me. I never really realized how lonely, or how, I guess, vulnerable I am to loneliness, because I've never really been alone. I've kind of always had Will with me. Yeah, I went to school and I went to work, and I never really realized how like being with my own thoughts and truly being like alone has affected me. So I didn't feel happy. I guess I chose not to be happy, because I decided that those things were so important, and since I didn't have them, I wasn't going to be happy. But what I'm trying to say is that even in like difficult times, we still do have the choice to be happy, and that has just been like another hurdle that I realized that, yeah, I too can choose to be happy even in these difficult situations. And I think that a lot of us have experienced really difficult situations, and it is really difficult to be happy in those difficult situations. But it's a very interesting thought that we can choose to be happy even despite not having certain things or experiencing difficulty. And I think that's one of the things that one of the reasons why I stopped chasing happiness, was because I didn't have to chase it. I actually just could decide to be happy. And sometimes choosing to be happy is not that easy, but knowing that I have the choice, that like even in all of this, I could still be happy. Number 5, this actually brings me to the next point about there's actually meaning and fulfillment in hardship. This is a Stoic principle, and it's the idea that your life can have meaning in hardship. I think another way to like kind of understand this is if you think back on like the really hard things that you have gone through, those have been the things that have really shaped you the most. There's a Chinese saying that if you want to polish wood to make it sparkle, you don't rub it with a feather, you grind it with like something rough. And that's just kind of the same thing with people. It's kind of beautiful that like the hardest things that have happened to us, unfortunately, have been like the most meaningful things that have happened to us. So that's also really one of the reasons why I don't chase happiness, or at least I don't chase the state of always wanting to feel good or always wanting to be happy, but actually kind of embracing that some of the hardships that I go through are actually going to make me come out the other end a better person, a deeper person, a more enriched person. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Yeah, it's going to suck and it's rough, but at least I'll come out a better person on the other end. Or at least it's always an opportunity to learn and grow and kind of like flex your muscle, because if you're always just kind of being a pansy and just always wanting to like be babied and just wanting life to be easy, you actually will find that you'll be quite miserable. But it's in the hardship that we find the meaning, and we find like our reason to strive and our reason to better ourselves. Yeah, that is why I don't really chase happiness anymore, and try my best to appreciate that when there are tough times or difficult situations, that this is an opportunity for something beautiful. Okay, so these are the 5 reasons why I have 5 reasons or 5 mindsets that I have changed in order to stop chasing happiness, or realizing that I don't have to chase happiness. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!